The NBA playoffs in the Eastern Conference Finals, we have the Bucks versus the Hawks, and right now it is heading to Game 4. Right now, it is 2-1 Bucks. So Hawks stunned the Bucks in Game 1, and I don't even know what Middleton was doing at the end of the game.
Middleton was doing Middleton things. That's what I'll say. Middleton was just he. That's the thing with Middleton. He's getting paid $35 million a year. You got to show up like a $35 million player every single night. The top athletes, you're made of the Olympic team. To be honest, I don't know how he made it. I don't know if he had like a special relationship with the coach. Players like LeBron and KD and Steph, those max contract players, they show up every night. They drop 30. They drop the big time players every single night. Maybe every once in a while they have an off night.
That scale.
Well, guess what? Is it a max contract? It is a max contract, and I expect better than that. Trae Young went off that game. He had 48, but the Bucks have been able to come back, and they're up 2-1 right now. And Game 4 in Atlanta, if they can go up 3-1, it's over. It's over. Wrap it up. Book their ticket to the finals.
And like you said, the Bucks responded. They took the next 2 games, and now with Trae Young's injury, he had an ankle injury, and man, we don't know how long it will affect him for in this series. But if I know he's doubtful right now. If that takes him out 1 game, it's over.
He's the engine of that team. He's the thing that makes him a well-oiled machine. It's not John Collins. It's not Clint Capella. It's not Bogdanovich. It's certainly not Gallinari. It's Trae Young. He's the reason that team is where it's at. And I think if he's out, I think it'll get nasty. They'll go down. They might lose by 25, 30 points. That's what I think if he goes out of game, because he is that team.
I mean, they did. They were like down 40 in I think Game 2.
Something like that. I think it might have been Game 3, but
Game 2, they were down terrible. And just seeing Trae Young's contributions to the series so far, Game 1, he had 48 points and 11 assists. Yeah, it was 17 for 34. That was 50% shooting. That was Game 1. He was pretty efficient for him and the shots he takes. And he had a great Game 1. But then he goes on to have 15 points and 3 assists, 6 for 16 shooting. And then he was taken out the Game 2, rested when they were down by a lot. And past game, Game 3, 35 points, assists, but for 23 shooting, that's not that bad. He had a big first quarter though.
Yeah, for sure.
He didn't continue that wave into the rest of the game.
All right, and then
it starts in him.
Yeah, and then for the Bucks, for me, this is about, if you're the Bucks, you pretty much just got to hold on because you're up 2-1. You win one more in Atlanta tomorrow. I think tomorrow night, you'll go up 3-1, and unless you're like Doc Rivers, you're not choking that lead. So you're gonna hold on to that lead, prepare for the next series, and you're probably going up against Phoenix. We'll talk about the Phoenix versus Los Angeles matchup in a minute. But that the winner of that series is probably looking like Phoenix. They're playing Game 5 tonight. Phoenix is up 3-1. I think personally they'll make it, whether it's Game 5 or Game 6. I think they will win one of those games and move on.
Me too. I like how you call the Clippers Los Angeles. Are Los Angeles right now. Lakers way out the picture.
Well,
out the picture, man.
Well, guess what? One has a championship, and one has 17 of them, and another is in the basement. They've never made a finals. They're poverty. They're the little brother. And so it doesn't matter where the Lakers are.
About what you've been doing right now. LA, first round exit. And first finals.
Let me know when the Clippers even make a finals, okay? Then we'll even think about discussing that, all right?
Why? Okay, here. We're going to talk about that later. But for now, just keeping on with the Bucks-Hawks series, which is pretty interesting. You have Giannis, who's had a solid performance. He's 34, 25, 33.
He's been unstoppable this series. I mean, with no DeAndre Hunter or even Cam Reddish for Atlanta, there's no one to stop him because Gallinari can't keep up with him. Clint Capella is too slow. John Collins isn't as good defensively as you would like. Giannis is just, other than the free throw line. I mean, even then he's been actually considerably, like, he's been surprisingly decent at the free throw line. But other than that, he's been insane this year. Rebounding, shooting, in the paint. He's been a beast. No one can stop him.
Like a couple assists here and there. Like he had like 9 assists game 1, 6-2. So he's been trying new things. And man, you can he's been consistent, been solid, and is that franchise centerpiece.
For sure.
What you can ask for. So I cannot be mad at that. And then going to Middleton, having a streaky series, but he was very good.
He did show up in Game 3. He showed up. He had 20 points in the fourth quarter. Yep. For Middleton, I've been known as a Middleton hater. Whether that's fair or unfair is another thing. But Middleton, if you want to shut people up like me, so-called haters, win a championship and don't just be along for the ride with Giannis. Show up. Make big shots. Put like these max contract games that you're having, 20-point quarters. I expect that in the finals. Then I won't say anything. Like, what is there for me to complain about? There's nothing for me to say. You do that, I'll shut up. I have nothing. I'll have nothing to say.
No, you always find a way. This is fresh off a great Game 3, and you already got some shots on him. But okay, let's go to Game 1. This is by far his worst game. At 15 points.
Back-to-back series. Going back to Brooklyn, you could have put me out there and put me in the Middleton jersey. I would have done the same performance he had in Game 1 against Brooklyn.
He was there. He had some not good games, but I feel like Middleton is clearly the X factor of this team.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's mainly because of his inconsistency. If he was very consistent, let's say he had like Giannis level consistency, which is a lot to ask for. But if he could even reach those type of levels, this Bucks team would be unstoppable. They
really would.
Look, right now they're going to Game 4. They'll be looking for a sweep. Like that first game.
He shows up, they have a real good chance at winning that.
And then even looking you don't want to have your eyes too far ahead. We have the Suns, who's probably taking Clippers down, backing them against all odds. They'll probably get that. I mean, they'll definitely get that finals appearance, unless they pull a Doc Rivers, which I hope they won't. For the sake of legacies, I hope they won't. But we're going to be playing a great Suns team in the finals, most likely.
That's going to be a great finals matchup, to be honest. In my opinion, if Milton shows up, they win that series. But the question is, like I said, is Milton going to show up? What Middleton are we going to get? Are we going to get Game 1 and 2 against Brooklyn Middleton? Or are we going to get Game 7 Brooklyn or Game 6 Middleton against Brooklyn?
Yeah, Game 3.
I mean, he just got to be consistent. You have arguably, not even arguably, you have a top 5 player on your team in Giannis. He's an absolute dog. But Giannis cannot make that jumper to ice the game. He can't. He just can't. And that's your responsibility. That's why you're getting paid $35 million a year. That's why you're getting paid a max contract. That's why the Bucks are putting these expectations on you. You have to make these type of shots, especially in the finals, in big time moments. You got to close out games for this team.
It's true. And last game, he was catching fire, putting in a bottle.
Yeah.
20 points in a fourth quarter. You cannot talk too much about that because that is very important. I think they were trailing a lot in that game too.
Yeah, they made a comeback in that fourth quarter.
Yeah. They were trailing a lot in that game, and then just for him to outscore a whole team is exciting to see. And then go on to Drew Holiday, who people don't really talk a lot. He's like the third guy, right? It's kind of weird how he does all the little things. In Game 1, where the Bucks lost, at 33 points, 10 assists, 14-25, it was a pretty nice game, but they lost, so you can't do too much, right? 22 points, 7 assists, 9 for 14 shooting. It was a great game.
I think one thing Drew Holiday has done real well is he knows his role. He knows it's not like how it is in New Orleans where he's going to have the ball pretty much. I mean, obviously he had Anthony Davis, but towards the end of that series, Anthony Davis was pretty much sitting out games. Everyone knew he was going to go to the Lakers. He knows that he's going to probably be the third option, sometimes the second option, if Milton goes MIA like he usually does in Game 1 or Game 2 early on in the series. And Drew Holiday, he knows his role well. He knows he's a great defender. He's an excellent defender, and he can also dribble the ball for him. Like, and also with losing Dante DiVincenzo, he's been even more important because DiVincenzo was like that 3-and-D guy for him because he was able to hit those threes. He would play a great perimeter defense, and Drew Holiday stepped up, and I think he's filled that role. I mean, obviously what they gave up was a lot, like really a lot. I think it was definitely an overtrade, but
they are right now. You can't, come on, they're not going to regret it too much.
If they win the championship, they won't regret it. They won't regret it at all. But if they lose this year, and if in the next 2-3 years they don't win, then they're definitely gonna look back on that and be like, if we kept it for a first round pick or two, would we be able to package that? Because also remember they could have got Bogdanovich as well before like some weird stuff happened in the front office, and now he's in Atlanta. But if Bogdanovich on that team,
that turned out.
Yeah, Bogdanovich on that team would have put him over the top, in my opinion. It would have. I think if they played Brooklyn, a healthy Brooklyn, he might have put them over the top.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, now moving on to the Western Conference Finals, we got the Los Angeles Clippers versus the Phoenix Suns. The Suns, as I said earlier, are up 3-1. They're playing Game 5 tonight, which we're recording before that. It's June 28th, 2021. It's around 7:30 p.m. Eastern, so it's happening before we see that game. So that's kind of what that is, yeah.
I mean, Suns 3, Clippers 1, 3-1 lead. I mean, this series is pretty much over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it started pretty quickly when the Eastern Conference
Suns have definitely gotten a little bit of luck, which is definitely neat. Like every champion, other than like the 2000 Lakers or 2001 Lakers, which only lost one game, every single team has had some luck go their way. Whether it be LeBron with the Heat when Allen made that shot, or whether it was the Raptors in 19 when Clay got hurt, whatever you want to call it, every team has luck. And the Suns making that last second shot with Ayton off the Jay Crowder inbound, that's pretty lucky. But that's what championship teams do. They get that luck to go their way instead of the other way. And also, Game 4 was very low scoring. It was kind of painful to watch, if I'm being honest. Watching at home, it was very low scoring. No team was able to crack over 90 points. And it reminded me of like some old school basketball, like the old heads talk about, like back in my day, like these guys would you saw the tough fouls and you saw Beverly guard Booker, and like Booker wasn't 100% because his nose was hurting a couple games earlier.
Yeah, that mask's throwing him off.
Mm-hmm. But that game reminded me of like some old school basketball and how the Suns can really win in a number of ways. They can win shooting the mid range with Paul and Booker. They can win through defense, like they did in Game 4, or they can just adapt. They're a very strong team that can just
pick a role too.
Mm-hmm.
With Aiden and CP3.
Yeah, they have so many different ways of winning.
Yeah. Like, just looking at the series, the Suns are on their finals appearance. The Clippers are missing Kawhi badly.
They're eyeing a trip to Cancun.
Yeah, they're eyeing a trip to Cancun, back against all odds. But you have to look at some of these guys in the Suns, especially like DeAndre Ayton.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like he doesn't get talked about enough. But he had a great series. He has a game-winning dunk. Like, you don't even see those a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Game-winning buzzer-beater threes, mid-range.
You don't see a game-winning dunks.
Big man. Not at all. With like less than less than a second left to go. Wow. But he's been solid. He's been,
he's taking a huge leap these playoffs.
Yeah, but with Chris Paul not being in like the first 2 games,
mm-hmm.
like DeAndre Ayton has been stepping up. Yeah, obviously he'll have good efficiency, and he's a big,
mm-hmm.
but 3 points, 9 rebounds, Game 1, 24 points, and 14 rebounds. That was the game he got that game-winning dunk in. 18 points, 9 rebounds, and 19 points, 22 rebounds. That's wild.
That's a 2020 game.
He had 19 though.
Yeah, I know, but 1 point away. Yeah. You just give it to him.
Yeah, sadly can't in real life. Like 22 rebounds. Like that's really taking advantage of post superiority you
Mhm.
have.
And
I mean,
one
the main
thing,
center of the Clippers is
mhm.
Zubac, right?
Yeah, he's their main
Zubac,
big man.
however you say his name. So he's not able to step for game, shot for shot,
Mhm.
down the middle. He just can't keep up with Aiden, and that's like very obvious.
Yeah, and then also
Not
another thing, like before this year, I mean, obviously, if you could, right, Luca would be on that Suns team, number one overall, back in the 2018 draft. If you were to go all the way back to 2018, right? That's clear.
yep.
That's a clear thing. But the Aiden pick doesn't look as bad as it did before the season started. Before the year, it was like, oh man, like Suns, that has to be a terrible move. But Aiden, he's perfect for this team in my opinion. Like he's a great big man, great rebounder. He has a mid-range shot. He doesn't shoot threes that much, but he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to at all.
That team can shoot on their own.
Yeah, they have Crowder, they have Johnson, Booker can shoot, CP3 can shoot. Payne, he's in a huge step. Like he's earned himself a nice little contract. He's earned himself a nice little contract. But Aiden, he's a perfect fit for this team. Obviously, if you go back, you pick Luka 10 out of 10 times. But Aiden, I wouldn't call it. I wouldn't call him a bust or a mistake because he was a perfect pick for this team.
Me neither. But like, it's one of those rare occasions where picking for need, not necessarily best player available, works out at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, look where Aiden is in their career. I mean, obviously Luka's the way better of the two, but Suns are out to make the finals.
Suns are a win away from the finals. They're a true contender.
With the help of Aiden. So, I don't know. Like you said that looking back, that they would pick Luka. With Booker. But that would
work well. All right.
But that's a nasty backcourt, but
that would be. But I mean, they could also move. Yeah. Moving on. That's a different discussion for a different day. Moving on.
It's an okay series.
Yeah, he's had a solid series. I mean, ever since that nose injury he sustained, he's kind of been a little bit different. A little bit different. He definitely came down a little bit after that 40-point triple-double he had, but obviously it's gonna be that's unsustainable. That's unsustainable. You can't really expect that night after night. But he's been really good these playoffs. He definitely disproven that narrative he had at the start of the year where it was, oh, he's a great player, but he just puts up big numbers on a bad team. Similar to like what Boogie Cousins had in Sacramento. But he's definitely disproven that take. What were we saying about it though?
I just hate that narrative that they put on players. Like people say like that. People say that about like Zach LaVine. People say that about Bradley Beal. Like it's just about what team you have around you. Finally, Devin Booker had a great team around him, a team that could support him. He got CP3, which is the ultimate floor general. Right? So, just put the right pieces around him that could complement his skill set, and he will win. We just saw that this year.
Yeah.
Like, for other players, and I mean that was kind of with Trae Young too. The same case about can you win? He's a little younger. With these players, I hope we'll have when Devin Booker can finally get rid of that narrative. Oh, he can't win, because at the end of the day, this is basketball. This is a team sport. No one man is gonna you finals or carry you unless you're LeBron. The greats, but
not everyone's an all-time great, a top 5 player ever. You can't expect that of every single player.
This is not fair to hold that standard on so many young players. Let them grow, and that's what happened with Devin Booker. Grew into the player he's right now, dropping 40-point triple doubles, as you said. Great efficiency. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Like, if you remember, like a couple years ago, Western Conference Finals was pretty much was the finals. Like the Rockets and the Warriors.
The 2018 one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was pretty much known that Cavs team, other than LeBron James, I mean, who was their second best player? Tristan Thompson? Like,
Exactly.
They were a terrible team. I still don't know how LeBron was able to carry that team all the way to the finals.
We have to look at this Clippers team though, real quick,
Mhm.
because we can't talk about the Suns. He had a good game one, but they lost at the end of the day.
Mhm.
It was
And PG,
kinda
he has been
bad fashion too.
he's been straight up unclutched this series. He missed 2 huge free throws, and then in game 4, he missed some more free throws. Like,
Yeah,
I don't want to
he
feed into the
was doing that
pandemic
well
P
from the
thing,
field.
but he's kind of doing it to himself at this point. He really is.
I mean, WP last year is incomparable. This year, if we're like just how he improved in his playoff performance,
Mhm.
can't really get too mad. And I don't think his team was built for PG, to be on his own. He's on his own right now in the Western Conference Finals against an informed Suns team. It's deadly. He needs Kawhi to come back. That defensive presence,
Mhm.
what, like shutting down the other team scorers, man.
I don't. It
Kawhi.
doesn't seem like Kawhi's gonna be coming back the rest of this series though, so that's unfortunate.
That's the thing though, because in the second round against the Jazz, it was like rumors of blowing the team up if they couldn't get to the Western Conference Finals. I think it was also, you heard that against the Mavs in the first round, the Mavs,
Mhm.
were pushing them a bit.
More than a bit. Went 7.
That was game 7. But I really hope that they don't blow this up.
I mean, this
Oh,
team.
man.
This shows you that this Clippers team. They have a because I think in my opinion the main reason they underperformed last year was because of the bubble. And there was a lot of rumors last year that the players just didn't want to be there. Like Montrezl Harrell, it seems like he was just didn't want to be there. Lou Williams was out there partying at clubs,
Yeah,
getting
like,
caught
for Lou.
getting caught at Magic City, eating his own lemon pepper wings. But it seemed like that team was really just unfocused. They didn't want to be there. They just wanted to go home. But this year, obviously, there's no bubble, and I think you see that in Paul George because obviously it cannot get worse than last year. It just can't. It can only go up from there. And he's had big moments, but he's also had big collapses. And those are the moments where like, if they had Kawhi Leonard, what would it have been? Would they have won game 2? I think they would have. Would they have won game 4? Yes, I think they would have. So you look at it like that.
Game 1 too. How
Mhm.
game 1 ended.
Yeah, as well. But, I mean, there's a lot of hypotheticals you can get into. But Kawhi Leonard, if you're Kawhi Leonard and you're sitting there, because obviously he's got free agency this offseason, if you're going between Miami and LA, you probably, if I'm Kawhi, you at least stay one more year. Just see if you're fully healthy, what this team is really like at its full potential.
I was might do that 1-year deal and turn into 1-year rental of Kawhi. That
Mhm.
wins championships, man.
Yeah, I mean, did in Toronto.
He
Speaking,
leaves, that would be pretty weak of him, because people give all this flack for players like KD, right?
hmm
Those he's jumping teams. But if Kawhi leaves, this team was constructed for him. They did what he asked for from the ditch. That'd be kind of soft, especially after leaving the Raptors after winning the title.
well, the thing is, Toronto knew what they were signing up for. They knew that he didn't want to go there. They knew what they were signing up for, and they capitalized. They won a championship in that 1 year he was there. They got their relationship was. It worked out for both sides. Kawhi wanted to go to free agency. He wanted to move. He got that, and the Raptors did it because they thought they had the best chance of winning a championship. And guess what? They won a championship.
Yeah.
And
Just seeing where the Raptors are since they
Mhm.
planned for this, right? They're in a good position now to reload. We're gonna go to the draft lottery in a bit. Man, that 4th pick.
yeah.
Nice.
And then speaking of Kawhi, before we head over to the draft lottery, Kawhi, if he was healthy, I think the Clippers win this series because he would have the ability. Him and
Maybe
Patrick.
game 7 or something.
What was
I
that?
think it'd be a game 7.
Yeah, I think it would go at
cool.
least 6. I think it would go at least 6, barring injury, of course. But if everyone's healthy, it's going at least 6. I think the Clippers would pull it out in 6. Because I think they'd be able to steal one on the road and defend their home court. But if you're Kawhi, you got to come back for at least one more year and see what this team can really do at its full potential when you're healthy and Paul George is healthy. All right. Now, moving on to Kawhi's. What were you saying?
Yeah, that recaps the playoffs right now.
Mm-hmm.
You have like a prediction? Like I think you said Suns in 5, right? I think we could both agree on
Suns.
that.
I'm taking Suns in 6, and I'm taking Bucks in 5.
I think the Suns take it home today. They go
Yeah.
win a 5, and I think the Bucks Hawks one
Mm-hmm.
goes to 6 with the Bucks winning.
All right, and then we got Suns Bucks in the finals, right?
You want to like have like a little bit of a prediction for that one?
Let's just keep that for next week's episode.
Fair.
All right. Now,
Content management.
yeah. Now, moving on to the draft lottery, and we were talking about Kawhi's former team, the Toronto Raptors. They got a little bit of draft luck. They moved up into the top 4, and they got the 4th pick. They moved up 3 spots to their projection.
Reloaded.
And let me just go through the draft lottery real quick. The first pick was the Detroit Pistons. Obviously they're gonna get Cade Cunningham. That's not even a question. We'll talk about the other picks, but we don't even talk about the first pick. It's obviously Cade Cunningham, clear cut number 1, phenom at Oklahoma State. You take him, no matter what, you take him. Then Houston Rockets get number 2. The Cleveland Cavaliers get the 3rd pick. As we just said, the Raptors get the 4th. The Magic get the 5th. The Thunder get the 6th. The Timberwolves got the 7th, but that pick goes to Golden State because of the D'Angelo Russell trade. Then the Chicago Bulls got the 8th pick, but that pick also went to the Magic because of the Nikola Vucevic trade earlier this year. Then the 9th pick went to Sacramento. 10th went to New Orleans. 11th to Charlotte. 12th to San Antonio. 13th pick to Indiana Pacers. And then 14th to Golden State, which means they have 2 lottery picks.
Yeah. So with the Golden State having those 2 lottery picks, kind of unfair. Clay coming back healthy, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Steph, and you also have like the potential of trading that 7th pick, Wiseman.
There's been rumors. There have been rumors that they've been trying to package Wiseman in that 7th pick for someone like Pascal Siakam, which would definitely be an interesting fit because he's like a 4. He could play the 3 because Draymond already is there at the 4, but maybe you go him at the small ball 5, move him to the 5. I don't know. And then keep Wiggins, but the Warriors, they are in a prime position to make a second championship window for Steph Curry, because you got Curry, who's an MVP level player this year. Then you're gonna have Klay Thompson, who hopefully you're expecting to be an all-star level player. Or always, a shooter will never lose his touch. He'll still be a great shooter in my opinion. I think he might struggle on a bit is his defense, but because he had the Achilles tear and the ACL tear, 2 like the worst injuries to come back from. But he will still be a solid shooter, and also he's contractually obligated to you. He's a team legend. I think he will be able to come back, at least shooting wise. Defensively, it might take him a little while to come back. And then
it takes a while.
And then they've got Andrew Wiggins, who actually was very solid this year for them. He guarded the other team's best player. He showed some potential on defense. And then speaking about defense, they got Draymond Green, Defensive Player of the Year level player, and they got James Wiseman, who's been in these rumors. But if you package Wiseman and both of these lottery picks and Andrew Wiggins, you can get a big time player.
Good. And like, I'm looking at it. That would be a trade that I would like. I don't really think Wiggins would be that type of player to have on your team if you're really trying to become a championship contender again. It's just such a hard, to bet on to get you there, because whatever you're doing, that's a blockbuster trade.
Yeah.
You better be making.
I don't think that the Warriors will hold on to both of these picks in the lottery because their time is now. Maybe they hold on to one, but I don't think they'll hold on to 2. I don't think they'll hold on to both of them.
Yeah. Like just looking at like the rest of the draft lottery, see how it changed up. Looking at OKC,
man,
it's a team that already is spoiled with first round picks.
And also, they also.
Now.
Really quick about Oklahoma City. They have their own pick at number 6, and then they get Boston's pick at 16, and they also get Miami's pick at 18. So they have 3 first-round picks this draft, with all 3 of them being in the top 20.
I believe with the Houston, with the Westbrook trade, I think OKC had the rights to Houston's if it fell out of the top four.
Yeah, but you know
Okay.
it didn't. You know,
It didn't. So that possibility of having the first pick and the fifth pick is gone.
but
And your pick
having the
became
sixth
the
pick
sixth.
is that's not an L. You know, you have 3 first-round picks with all of them being in the top 18 or 20, and you can easily package all 3 of those picks to move up if you really really love a prospect. But for them, they're still years away from competing. They probably have probably one of the best rebuilds in NBA history right now with all these picks, and they already got their young piece in SGA, and they got a young a nice solid player in Lou Dort. And I mean, they've got 3 picks. I mean, you can do whatever you want here. You can just take the players at each pick, package them all into one to move up considerably to a top 3 pick, move 2 of them, or just trade back and get more assets.
Yeah.
It's really they have so much flexibility here.
I wouldn't be surprised if Presti would trade back, but I hope not, because that OKC team was horrid. I don't think SGA was playing a lot, but
He wasn't towards the end of the
season,
year. He wasn't, and they sent Al Horford home as well.
and like they just team losing in the worst way possible. But if I'm an OKC fan, I'm kind of sad. I'm crying inside because you lost the possibility of having Cade playing for Oklahoma State, playing for the Oklahoma Thunder.
If you're a Thunder fan, you're not crying about anything because you know you got 25,000 first-round picks in the next 4 years. You're gonna get a superstar or two.
Hey, so I feel like they would, give what half of those just to get Cade, man. They love Cade down there. Getting established stars in your market.
Mm-hmm.
Would love to have Cade. How about Houston?
Houston,
Okay,
in
so
my
they're lucky
opinion,
to keep this, but where will they
yeah,
go?
in my opinion, the real draft starts with Houston because everyone knows Cade Cunningham is going to Detroit. He might as well buy his house there. Right, put your contract down, do everything right. The real draft starts with Houston because do they take Evan Mobley, another big man to pair with Christian Wood, because he plays the 5. So do they play Wood at the 4 and really fix and give him a dynamic front court, or do they draft someone like Jalen Green or Jalen Suggs or someone of that sort, like a guard, to because they really have a hole at the guard position.
Yeah, I mean, do and I'm looking at that Porter Jr. with Jalen Suggs or Christian Wood. Christian Wood with Evan Mobley, that'd be kind of like a cheat code.
Mm-hmm.
That presence,
Christian Wood is very underrated as well, and he's on a very cheap contract considering his value and his production.
Yeah, but probably go with Mobley.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Mobley's such a secure pick in my opinion, and just getting like a star-studded court, even the age of like the 3 ball, we just see how well that could take you.
I mean, having those 2 dynamic big men can definitely be something different than what you see now with all these backcourts like Dame and CJ and like all these small ball. It'd definitely be like a different brand of basketball in Houston, but you could take like a real scorer like Jalen Green, who he's probably the best scorer in the draft because a lot of experts and scouts are saying that in a couple of years he's gonna be dropping 20, 25 points a game, and when you're a bad team like Houston, you're going to be drafting here for a couple years, and you know it. Doesn't matter who you're drafting here, unless you're drafting LeBron James 2.0 or MJ 2.0. You're going to be here for a couple years. So, do you take the best player available, Evan Mobley, or do you just take... I mean, you can't really go wrong here, in my opinion, because you take Jalen Green, he's a certified scorer, or you take Evan Mobley, the guy who seems to be a lock to be a very solid center for many years in the NBA.
I mean, this is a good problem to have,
Mm-hmm.
and like just seeing Jalen Green. Think about him with coming from the G League, right?
Yeah,
so,
G League Ignite team.
He already has experience with professionals, and he already has more of that professionalism about him. So just won't be completely new.
Mm-hmm.
Going to the NBA. Oh, you saw how his route just benefited him. Like he's about to be a lottery pick.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, do you think that has any potential ramification of the NCAA, which has been struck with the Supreme Court,
Mm-hmm.
with
the
ruling of paying players?
I think
So
the
stand.
ruling that makes them have to play players, I think it will be a complete game changer because
So will that kill the G League route then? If you
I
can
mean
get
I
money
think
from
it'll
NCAA?
definitely it'll definitely make it a little less popular of a route because the main selling point that the NBA gives these top athletes like Jalen Green is you're only everyone knows you're not going to Duke or UNC or Kansas with education, right? You're going there because it gives you the best shot of being a top 5 pick or a lottery pick or just a first round pick in the NBA, right? That's the goal. So if you're gonna do that anyways, come to the G League, get paid, and work with these dudes, NBA level trainers, NBA level coaches, and we'll get you ready. And if college, if these blue blood programs like UNC, Duke, Kentucky, if these guys can offer you similar amounts of money to what the G League is offering, why would you not go to college? Because you you have a little bit less pressure on you. I would say because you're just a college player rather than playing against grown men. You're playing against people against your old age, right? And you're getting paid. Why not go the
Yeah,
college
but
route?
here, real quick, like just the money you're getting from NCAA, if that happens, like getting from your own college, these guys generate so much money. Okay,
Mhm.
so just the amount of money they can get from their likeness, amount of money. Like think about it this way: Zion didn't go to Duke and he went to the G League. I think he would still like, and he would have had the potential to be paid by Duke or whatever, right?
He would
I
have
think
made
he would his
millions.
likeness. I think his likeness, and like sponsorships and all of that sort of thing. You think that would like? I don't think the G League could offer that. I don't think whatever happens.
Mhm.
I don't think
But
that
also, you
the
gotta think
G
about it
League
like
can
this as
compete
well. People
way.
like Zion and like LeBron and players of that nature, they're once in a generation level hype. Those type of dudes only come around once every decade, once every 2 decades.
I
Like
understand that,
not every
but I'm
player is
just
gonna be
saying.
Zion. But the main thing I would say is the average college athlete for you and basketball player I'm saying here, they're not gonna be Zion Williamson, LeBron James level hype. They're gonna be
I understand that,
hmm
but all I'm saying, right, is that just no. Okay, so NCAA is really, and like colleges in general, like these top colleges in general, they're great at like advertising their guys, and people get hyped to watch these March Madness tournaments, um, regular season in conference
hmm
games, heavyweights play each other. Nobody really watches the G League.
That's
Nobody
true.
wakes up right watches the G League. So like, you just cannot market yourself
That's another thing. Yeah. I mean,
compared
if that's another thing that I
G League
think
to NCAA.
if the NCAA seriously starts paying their players, right, then
Like bank, I'm not talking about like a small check. I'm talking to like maybe I don't know. A million is a lot, but
but I'm thinking it will
hundreds of thousands of dollars,
significantly
man.
lessen the excitement of the G League because if you're really about 50-50 between them, right? You think about it. What's gonna help you build your brand more? A G League Ignite team or University of Kentucky or University of Kansas? You know what I mean? These are
Yeah.
established schools with big time names, and
Yeah. You
they're gonna
have
be.
players who have legacies
hmm
from college basketball, like those who don't even have that. They're not even that successful in the next level in the NBA, but they already have. They're like so ingrained in the program's legacy and the lore,
hmm
their performances, like it's not comparable,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
And then moving on, we got Cleveland with the third pick, and I think Cleveland is going to take one of the Jalen's because they got
I
Jared
agree.
Allen, who they're going to sign probably in restricted free agency. So it would make no sense if Evan Mobley goes to them. And also, I think Evan Mobley will go to Houston, but a Cleveland's pick at number 3, I think Kate will go for 1, Mobley 2, and 3 with Cleveland. I think they take Jalen Green because there's been a lot of rumors with them trying to package Colin Sexton for draft picks, for some players. I mean, whatever it may be, that means they're definitely looking at opening up a spot in their backcourt, and they'll have Garland at the 1 and Green at the 2.
I think Green at the 2 would be a great pick to bag.
hmm
I think it's very likely too. So high up the board. With Houston probably going to take Evan Mobley, right? the consensus number 2.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like remember in I think 2018 right with Zion and Ja.
Oh, 2019.
Yeah, my bad 2019. You had consensus number 1 was Zion, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
consensus number 1 right now is Cade. Number 2 in 2019 was Ja Morant. People like knew that. Um, this draft, I feel like that's gonna be Mobley's spot. Just want to put that out there. And
All right.
just the potential of seeing a Darius Garland and a Green backcourt, I would like to see that.
Yeah.
Ever since I left this team, it just made me want to follow them, and I've been watching the slam. I think that's what they called it with Sexton and Garland.
Yes, excellent.
Backcourt. Dude,
It's a weird
I
name,
don't know.
but you gotta for the Cleveland Cavaliers, they've been frankly like ever since LeBron's been in the league since '04, they've been terrible ever since he's not been there. But the first time he left, when he went to Miami, in that 4-year stretch, they had 3 number 1 overall picks, and the one time they didn't, they had a number 4 overall pick. They always had top 5 pick, and now the second time he's left, they haven't even sniffed the playoffs. They've been picking in the lottery every single year. I mean, you got to prove yourself as something more than just LeBron's hometown team. You know, because that's all they are now.
So this is a good starting point too. This is the 3rd pick. This is a pretty high pick for him to land.
Hmm.
And this is the most talented draft.
And they were able to move up
in
2
the
spots. They were able to move up 2 spots. They were projected to get the number 5 pick. So and Orlando was expected to get the number 3 pick. We'll talk about them in a second. And then moving on to Toronto,
Let down.
and then in my opinion, Toronto is the biggest winner in its entire draft because I think they won the second their pick moved up to top 4. Whether it had been 4 or 1, I mean obviously 1 you're the biggest winner, but the second I saw them move up to number 4, because I believe so much in this Raptors front office with Masai Ujiri. He is the executive of the NBA. Like he's the best one in the league. He knows what he's doing. That's an understatement. And their player development program is absolutely insane. OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, Chris Boucher, all these dudes were just like dudes no one really cared about. They were like what mid-first round picks, second round picks, undrafted. Chris Boucher, like these dudes came out of nowhere, and they're gonna make serious money. They're serious players. Pascal Siakam, all-star level player. OG Anunoby, great defender. Chris Boucher is gonna probably get paid this offseason. I mean, these are all great players. These aren't just random dudes. Their player development program is second to none.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, there's so many teams that would just wish to have something close to what
Mm-hmm.
Toronto has when it comes to player development. And whatever rookie goes to Toronto is the biggest winner.
Yep.
Yeah, is a winner.
I don't think they're
Whatever
gonna have to
rookie-
bust. I don't think so.
Me neither. Whoever goes to Toronto, just a happy man.
Yeah. And I think
I don't know.
I think
That's like
Toronto.
the best squad in the top.
Yeah. And it's not even close. They're easy. And Toronto, in my opinion, like I think they'll take the whichever Jalen doesn't go in the top 3, because obviously Cade's gonna go 1, Mobley's gonna go 2, and then 3 is gonna be one of the Jalen's, either Green or Suggs. And if it's Green, then they take Suggs. If it's Suggs, they take Green. And you can't go wrong. I mean, they could use a 2, or like because Kyle Lowry's a free agent. Whether it be I think he will leave via sign and trade, because there was a lot of discussion with him at the trade deadline going to Philadelphia or LA, and I think he's going to go to one of those teams because this team, he's the best player in that franchise's history. So they're not just going to send him to Orlando and let him ruin the later years of his career. They're going to send him to a contender, and they're going to put him in a nice spot. But they still have Fred VanVleet there, who's a very solid player. And I think Jalen Green or Jalen Suggs would be a great fit here. They're obviously going to develop really well. They're not going to have any pressure on him because they're not going to be the only player on that team like Cade Cunningham in Detroit. Or, I mean, obviously he's got Jeremy Grant, but you know what I mean. He's attraction. Cade Cunningham's the only attraction in Detroit. But in Toronto, they got Fred VanVleet. They got established players. They got a coach of the year coach, Nick Nurse. That rookie is going to be in a great situation.
Yeah. Like, just seeing, like, just going down the lottery board with Orlando, man, luck.
Tough
Orlando,
luck. Tough luck.
15th in the East, and you get the fifth pick.
They went 21-51. Third worst
You
record
get
in the
the
league.
fifth pick.
Yeah.
Have a team like Toronto, who's clearly, and they pick in front of you. That's like shows you the almost the impossibility of building in the NBA. Like tanking, my bad, tanking in the NBA. But that's just tough luck.
And then I mean, for after that top four, there's obviously guys like Kuminga and also there's other dudes, Moses Moody, players of that sort. But there's not definitive like certified players at the top of the draft board yet. But I mean, we'll just talk about the winners and losers of this lottery after the top four picks. And I think the biggest winner after that has got to be the Golden State Warriors, because even though the Timberwolves pick, which potentially goes 6 and end up going 7, you still got 2 lottery picks, and you have so much flexibility with what you can do, and the owners of that team are willing to spend. They'll go into luxury tax. They've been doing it. They've been spending the most luxury tax money in the history of the NBA the last couple of years. They don't care about that because they're already making so much money, and they're gladly spend the team. You got a prime Steph Curry. I mean, Clay's coming back. Wiggins has. You can package him in a deal. You got Wiseman. I mean, this Golden State team is actually going to be scary next year.
Yeah. Like, just seeing across the board, I don't think anything's really notable past the pick. The second Orlando pick, I think, obviously they take Chicago's pick. I think that was the Vucevic.
Yeah, that was a shred.
I mean, it's a nice reconciliation prize, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Place. Trophy. Whatever it is, whatever you want to call it. And that's what Orlando got.
Yeah.
It's just seeing, man, tough luck. You get the 5th pick.
Yeah.
Oh no. Just cannot the disappointment.
And then
but
and then moving on other than the draft lottery now, we're kind of done with that. We got some coaching vacancies and coaching positions that's been filled up. So we talked that there was about 7 to 8 openings. The Dallas opening has been filled by Jason Kidd. Chauncey Billups is headed to Portland. Ike Udoka, I think that's how you pronounce it.
I think his name is Ime Udoka.
Ime Udoka. He's headed to Boston, and then Rick Carlisle is headed to Indiana. And I think those are all the filled positions, I believe, as of now.
There's Chauncey Billups and Jason Kidd, right?
Yeah, I talked about that.
Yeah.
And then there's still some openings in Washington, in New Orleans, and in Orlando. But we'll talk about the field positions right now.
So I just want to start off with Jason Kidd, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I said was the best, the best job opportunity. And Luka being mentored by Jason Kidd, one of the best players in his own era, right? So. And
I think that signing will help Luka a lot, especially defensively, because Jason Kidd was known to be a two-way point guard. So Luka, obviously, top 5 player in the NBA, in my opinion, at least top 10. And his offensive game is unmatched, but his defensive capabilities can definitely be utilized a little bit more. And I think Jason Kidd is the right coach to bring that out of him, because he's got to respect Jason Kidd.
I remember Rick Carlisle when he was commenting on this. He said he wanted to see Kidd in this job, and that's what happened. Oh, Carlisle gets his wish.
Carlisle, yeah, he heads over to Indiana, and to me,
that's something he wants.
To me, this signals one thing and one thing only. This team, there's been a lot of rumors that, maybe they're going to do a fire, so maybe Miles Turner is going to go, maybe Malcolm Brogdon is going to go, maybe Sabonis is going to go. This means you don't bring in Rick Carlisle for a rebuild. You bring him in because you want to win.
At his age as well.
I think this means that the Indiana Pacers, they're committed to mediocrity. They're committed to being a 5 to 8 seed in the Eastern Conference, best case losing in the second round, and they're committed. I mean, that's good for them, I guess, but in my opinion, you should start a rebuild because you're not going to go anywhere with this team. You're looking at a second round exit. You get great value out of players like Malcolm Brogdon and Miles Turner and Sabonis. You keep LeVert around as your piece. I mean, but with this signing, this signals that this front office and this ownership, they don't want to do a rebuild. They want to stick with this team, and they want to continue being mediocre.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know how to feel about that. If I was a Pacers fan, maybe they're excited about this. They do have great talent on that team. It's just performing and it's not matching up to the talent of the top Eastern Conference teams. But on to like the next job, which you said was your favorite job opportunity. I said it was my second favorite. Ime Udoka going to the Boston Celtics.
I mean, this was definitely a surprising hire to say the least. No one really saw this coming. But I mean, the main thing is just keeping Tatum happy and Brown happy, because in this new wave of player movement, you don't want your superstar player, your future MVP candidate, your future All NBA level star, leaving in free agency because he got mad. I mean, we'll talk to this in a little bit, but it seems like Dame Lillard has been a little pissed off over the hiring of Chauncey Billups. We'll talk about after this Boston hiring, but I mean,
sure, but
there's not much for me to say about him because there's like, he's kind of like a new guy. I think that's personally great that a coach of color has been hired. It's nice that like there's more than just white dudes on the sidelines, you know. I mean, it gives a new perspective and it makes like it freshens it up a little bit.
And like, look at Ime Udoka's background. He was like the USA Olympics team assistant coach, I believe. Then he goes on to become the Celtics head coach. That's very different. Not only are you going from like an Olympic team, going to one of the most storied franchises in NBA history, right?
Yep.
The pressure's on. As we said, the pros and cons. The cons of this job is the amount of pressure, the amount of expectation that you have. So, Udoka.
Listen up.
No, bro, you don't want to lose your job like a year because you were a first-round exit, like a 7th or 6th seed, man. This team has potential to go back. They're doing, I believe, in 2019, 2020. Can go and run on to like give a strong team in the second round a run for their money, or maybe even the conference finals. Ime Udoka, man. I mean, I like how he rose to this position. But fire's on.
He's definitely
one of the most hard sports markets.
He's definitely paid his time in the NBA. He wasn't like Steve Nash where no coaching experience at all. I mean, this man, he's been in the league for a while. He knows what he's doing. And then moving on to what I said a little earlier, Chauncey Billups to Portland, and immediately after he got hired, there was rumors that Dame Lillard was pissed off because he wasn't as much of a piece in the new hiring as he wanted to be. And for Chauncey Billups, I mean, this job is only good for one reason, because it's one man, Damian Lillard. I mean,
and then like if he gets mad,
If he gets mad, I mean, what are you gonna do? You're gonna trade him away. You're gonna completely rebuild. I mean, C.J. McCollum is probably gone. I mean, Robert Covington's probably gone. I mean, Yusuf Nurkic's probably gone. I mean, you're gonna have a complete hard reset, and for the next 4 or 5 years, you're just gonna be sitting there with 20-win teams.
If I'm Chauncey Billups, I'll be disappointed because I don't want to look into that, because this was a team that was consistently first-round exit, exception of that one Western.
Other than the Western Conference Finals year.
Yeah, but if I'm him, like, I think I can make a move to make this team take this team over the top. Like, if I'm Billups, I'm trying to trade CJ. I'm trying to talk to Dame.
You definitely gotta shake it up a little bit.
Yeah, gotta shake it up, and that starts with Stephen McCollum. You said talking about moving to Covington, Nurkic. I think you can keep him from now. Be a transfer deadline if it's all going.
I mean, Yusuf Nurkic, I mean, after this upcoming year, he's going to be a free agent. And, I mean, if Dame's gone, just trade him. I mean, get something out of him.
Yeah.
And then...
you just have to see how his experience translates.
Yeah.
He's a former player, right? Rising to his position. He was, I believe... I don't know exactly where he was.
He was an analyst, I believe, on TNT, I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we wish him the best of luck, but in my opinion, I mean, he's set up for failure. Be-
Yeah, I agree.
because Dame Lillard immediately, and I mean like within like a couple hours, he rumors, I'm not happy, I want out, stuff like that. And his entire camp has said that they don't want him to be there anymore. I mean, if Dame's gone, you're with a terrible team in a terrible market. So good luck, but I mean, I don't think it'll be successful.
Under the tutelage of Tyronn Lue as an assistant coach of the Clippers, right? His whole NBA acumen gathered from his time in the league. You have to make it work.
Oh
If
yeah,
I'm him,
assistant coach on the
I'm just
Clippers.
trying
Yeah,
to.
my fault.
If I'm him, I'm just trying to be well with my X's and O's, be competent, Dame down, make him happy, and then trade CJ and move on. That's just my take
Yeah,
on this situation.
I mean,
Let's go to the openings.
yeah.
There's so many rumors on and so many interviews. Like for example, with the Pelicans, Jacques Vaughn had an interview with the Pelicans.
I mean, for the Pelicans, I think their perfect fit would be Kenny Atkinson. He's a great developer when he was in Brooklyn. I mean, and that's all you need. You need a developer. You need to develop Zion and keep his family happy. Because there's been rumors that they might want him out of there because it's a small market, and also like they didn't do much with Anthony Davis, and they don't want that to happen to him.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that critique, but seeing because Vaughn, Nets assistant coach, former NBA player on his own right as well, recently got an interview request from the Pelicans to the the Nets. Like, I'm just curious to see what he would do because how the Nets season ended out.
Yeah.
But, you can't say that Vaughn himself hasn't been good. Obviously, he has to assist Steve Nash, right?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have coaching experience before this, and this whole team is curious because I'm kind of pessimistic, to be honest, with the future of their team is going to look like at the end of the day. But it's what it is. What happens, happens, and I think we have to move on.
Yeah.
Next, opening, the Magic. I was researching this and recent rumors. They got Penny Hardaway interviewing Penny Hardaway with the job.
Isn't he have the job at Memphis, the University of Memphis?
Yeah. He got a job there, and I think he got an interview with the Orlando Magic.
That would be interesting for sure.
Former player for that team. Fans no recognize the name.
Mm-hmm. And they would hope for a similar draft luck. I mean, when they drafted him, they had a 1 point. There was a year after they drafted Shaq #1, and they had a 1.7% chance at drafting him, and they got the #1 pick. So they better hope that he brings some luck with him in the draft for the next couple of years.
Yeah, Penny Hardaway. I would love to see. That's probably like one of the most. To me, that would be one of the most interesting coaching reps. The whole head coach hiring cycle this off season.
They definitely would be very interesting as a former player for the team.
Yeah, and I think that takes us next. Let's go next to the Wizards.
Our Washington Wizards. I mean, the main candidates have been Wes Unseld Jr., and if you don't know, his pops was probably the greatest player for our team. Played back in the 60s, 70s. He brought us the chip. He was a Rookie of the Year and MVP.
80s, right?
Yeah, 70s, 80s. It's my fault. And he actually won Rookie of the Year and MVP the same year.
Yeah,
so
that's pretty dope.
That's pretty crazy.
I think it was a former coach too.
Mm-hmm.
The Wizards.
Yeah, and then the other candidate has been Becky Hammon of the assistant coach on the Spurs. And I mean, in my opinion, I really hope one of these two has a commitment to a rebuild because that's what this team needs.
Yeah. And I'm just looking at my notes right now while I'm flipping the pages. And my personal favorite is Sam Cassell. I think also from the Clippers. Was with the Clippers. I think he left. I might have to check that out. But him and Jamal Mosley, which is not really a name really known well. He was interviewed. He was requested an interview with him from the Wizards to the Pelicans, and from what I have in my notes, He was the
Cassell,
Mavs, the
really quick,
Mavericks
really quick.
assistant coach.
Cassell's the assistant coach on the Sixers.
Yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
it's not the. He was with the Clippers for a long time, and he was with
Yeah,
the Wizards from like '09 to 14.
I
So
believe so.
he knows the organization as well.
Hmm.
And, those two, I feel like Sam Cassell, Jamal Mosley. I'd be happy with either of them. 'Cause Sam Cassell on his own right, he has experience with us. Rapper with the
And also, I
organization.
think this
Better.
job is a little bit more intriguing than it might seem because the owner has a tendency to just not fire people, and
Yeah,
I think that would make the decision easier for some of these candidates to just commit to a rebuild because sometimes when a coach or a GM or just a front office commits to a rebuild, after 3 years the owner's like, I've had enough of this. You're all gone. I want to actually compete. But this coach, Ted Leonis, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. It seems to be a bad thing most of the time, but it might be a good
yeah,
thing when we're hiring this coach because it'll make it seem like you got job security, whether you do good or bad. Because if you commit to a rebuild, it's fine. It's fine if we're terrible for 3 to 4 years, because he knows and he won't just fire you just because you've had a string of bad luck, or
yeah.
he'll trust your vision.
Like it's wild. I don't know if, yeah, as you said, if it's a good thing or a bad thing. In the past, it's mostly been bad with Ernie Grunfeld
23
and
years on the job,
recently,
I think.
yeah, and I already forgot his name, which is a good thing. Is going away from my memory. Scott Brooks. Yeah,
Oh,
already leaving my memory.
infamous Scott
Remember Scott
Brooks.
Brooks? Yeah, he's leaving. He left, and he was here a couple years too much, in my opinion. Just going into
This
like
I just gotta say something
defensive.
really quick. Mario Bowser, if you don't know, mayor of DC, please ban Scott Brooks. Put him on the list if like you can't allow him in the city. I don't want him within 50 miles of our stadium. He was a terrible coach. Please do not bring him back under any. I don't even want him on like in the seats. I don't want his energy anywhere near our team.
What energy? That's the thing. What energy? I could when I was watching the games, you see on the timeout,
Hmm.
you see how like these players uh are huddling around the coach. That man has no energy. Like he just talks. I feel like he's talking to a brick wall. Players are not getting
He's just
receiving
there to
that
collect his paycheck
hype.
after the game.
And then there was so many reports of his tactics being terrible, and his plays not well constructed, being well
Hmm.
constructed. Let's just go on because we're going on to better days and better head coaches,
Yeah.
right? Mosley, Mavs assistant coach. He's known for his defensive strategy and development. Those are the two biggest things we need right now
Yep.
because we have no defensive strategy.
And like Bradley
We
Beal
have
said,
very
we at one point in the
development.
season our defense was so bad. He was saying we couldn't stop parkour, which is probably true. I mean,
That's it.
our defense definitely been a weak
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. And then you have Wes Unseld Jr. Obviously, we already
Hmm.
gave him a little bit of his,
And then Becky Hammond, who would make
fail.
history as the
But
first female coach in the league, and also, it's not just because she's a female, but also like she's qualified for the job. She had just as many.
yeah, those. How many years has she been under Greg Popovich? Like, like that coaching expertise, those coaching X's and O's, they rub off on you.
Hmm.
Like, you cannot walk in conversation with Greg Popovich and not learn anything about NBA strategy.
Yep, arguably
So,
the greatest coach in the history of the league.
yeah. I mean, in other sports, this type of thinking has not worked. Belichick's coaching tree
Yeah.
has been horrible for the most part. And then Zach Taylor was hired pretty much because he knew he was a coordinator with Vay, right? That hasn't
Hmm.
worked. And
But I mean, it's an NBA, it's a different league. But Becky Hammond
I
has all the
understand that.
qualifications to be a great coach in this league. But in my opinion, I think she's the type to grab the job from Pop after he retires because she's been with that Spurs organization. She knows all those players. I think she'll stay with the Spurs now. I think we'll hire Unseld Jr. or Cassell, in my opinion.
That's what I hope. To be honest, those are my two main guys. I mean, let's not say Junior Nuggets. I mean, I don't know how many times I've said this. Yeah, by now, this is like the fourth time I said this. Nuggets assistant coach. Keep that in mind. Because how many players has he developed or had a hand in development on that
Hmm.
team with Porter, Porter Jr.
Porter,
and
Murray, Jokic. I mean, all those dudes. Depends on when he was there.
like Also known for his defensive strategy and development,
Yeah.
so that's a plus.
So I mean, I think that wraps up the Wizards' job, and in total, that wraps up our NBA segment. Um,
Yeah.
and
But
then
going on, because we have the Olympics, right? USA Olympic team.
yeah,
Going for gold, we have Beal and Westbrook on Team USA. They're likely to win gold. I mean,
they should win
they're
gold.
always the favorite. It'd be a catastrophe if they don't. But they should win gold, and they should premiere too. If you look at that roster, I doubt Westbrook and Beal are gonna get this low amount of shine, low amount of
I mean, obviously you
camera.
got like some dudes like
Yeah.
Middleton and Love who are just there for fun,
Yeah.
and then Kevin
Yeah,
Durant's
KD.
starter. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
that I think
But
that team's just it's just too good not to win a gold medal. I mean,
it always is. Like, you just compare it. You're playing third world developing country, Spain and Argentina, maybe Serbia, Slovenia.
whichever one Lucas from.
Lucas
Slovenia,
from
I think.
Slovenia.
Yeah, and then
Uh,
Jokic is
Jokic
from
Serbia.
yeah. But I mean, this
No,
team should be good enough to win gold. I mean, you're just too good. You're just too good.
yeah. And you
So
also on like
yeah,
keep in mind, you have Rui Hachimura on Team Japan.
yeah.
They're gonna get clapped if they ever meet Team USA. But
Interesting footnote.
I want to see because he's gonna be their main guy, first option. I want to see how Rui
I
responds.
want to see how he leads as
The
well.
whole nation too. You're in Tokyo. You're in hometown, leading. Your
I want to see how
your
he.
country.
I want to see how he leads that team because he is the guy on that team. And it's not a question.
Like that, he averaged like about 14 points and 5 rebounds this past year. And keep this in mind, right? I mean, we'll probably have a coach by the time the Olympics are over,
Hmm.
which is like late, late July, early August. I have to check the schedule on that, the calendar. But imagine the head coach comes in. Hill and Westbrook are amazing in the Olympics. You have Rui, who responds well by leading his team. Probably not to gold, maybe like a bronze or a silver. I don't really know teams they have
I mean, there's
now.
also like
I have
other. I mean,
to
Spain's got a really good team. I mean, there's other countries, but I mean, USA.
yeah, bronze is a little lofty, but like say he like shows out
Hmm.
this Olympics and like development.
He wins a medal for that country. It's a massive